First of all, welcome to the players meeting for Carnaby Crush 2026. Thanks everyone for signing up and selling out the tournament. That is, pretty big considering it was not last minute, but thrown in as a replacement for Chichester Pro. So good to see that people are keen to play lay out at Curtin. Start with a few thank yous. Thanks to Rob for putting together the website and the sign-up system. Not having to chase up payments is a dream as a TD, so just saves heaps of time and makes life way easier. So thanks, Rob. Thanks to Reese for doing the promo stuff on social media. Thanks to Briggsy for being the ideas guy and driving the event forward and making it happen. Thanks to Joe and Beardy for all the behind the scenes work. They're always helping out wherever they can. And thanks to Boat for putting together the incredible trophies. I've got one of the little guys here. That's what we're all playing for. They're going to get mounted up with some little templates. But as always, sick trophies seems to be our theme as a club at Sunset Coast, is doing cool trophies. Might not. If we do one thing well, it's that. But yeah, thanks to everyone as well for jumping in and putting in the effort to make it happen. All right. Bit of housekeeping for the day in terms of schedule. Round one is going to start at 9 a.m. Obviously, no players meeting on the day because we're doing it now. So you need to be at your tea time and ready to start at 9. I'll publish starting holes probably tonight, but make sure you check them on the morning in case of any late changes. We'll have our air horn there, so at 2-minute warning you'll hear 2 short horn blasts, and then at the start of play we'll signal start of play with 1 long horn blast. Expecting that rounds will take 2 to 2.5 hours, so it just depends on how well the field moves with a full course, probably more on the 2.5 hour side. Once we get through round one, we'll have a 45-minute lunch break from the time of the last group finishing. You can grab lunch across the road at the Karawara shops. There's heaps of fast food there. Otherwise, there is also the IGA and a couple of shops behind the Sport and Rec Centre, which is walking distance from the course, so probably a 2 or 3 minute walk. So it's a good place to go for some food. There's also toilets on the day, will be in the rec centre. I believe that's open all day Monday. I think 8 a.m. they said they open up, so yeah, you use the toilets in there. Then we'll get into round 2. As I said, 45 minutes from the end of the last group finishing, and then straight into presentations after we finish the second round. Try and get into them as quick as we can, and then maybe we might go across the road for a beer after to celebrate. Live scoring. So reminder that this year everyone has to keep score. We'll be scoring through the PDGA website. The access code for the event is WHITETAIL, one word, no spaces, WHITETAIL, like our Carnabys that have, where's my camera? See, it's WHITETAIL. Yeah. Trying to make something a bit more creative than just doing Carnaby 26. So I've gone with WHITETAIL. Hopefully you remember that, but you can ask on the day as well. Make sure that you check your scores and that they're all correct before you submit them at the end of each round as well. That's kind of the housekeeping and schedule. Onto some rules stuff. So is a PDGA sanctioned event, so we expect that players should know and follow the PDGA rules. All the rules are available on the PDGA Live app, which is really handy, so you can check them while you're there. If you're not sure on a ruling, speak to your card mates, make a group decision, and if you need to play a provisional, do so, and then you can speak to me at the end of the round, ask about it. We do have a full course, so we're going to have to be mindful of where other people are on the course all the time. There shouldn't be much crossover. The only place we're going to get crossover is where we've added the temporary hole when people are playing that temp hole and hole 18. Then there might potentially be a little bit of crossover. So just communicate with the people around you and make sure you know who's throwing and who's not throwing. And yeah, just be mindful of pace of play because we've got 11 cards of 5 out there, so the course will be pretty full. There might be some other people around on the course, so make sure we're being respectful to them and giving them right of way as well, where possible, or just asking them nicely to move out of the way if they're loitering and lingering. But yeah, just do your best to make it a positive and good atmosphere throughout the day. Hole breakdowns and course notes. I'll try and run through the course. I'll run through each of the pairs of holes. So like I'll do hole 1 and 10 together because they're the same, not the same hole, but in the same place, and so on and so forth. And just talk about hole specific stuff. So hole 1 and 10, we have the footpath on the left-hand side. Anything on or over that footpath is OB, as well as the footpath behind the basket. The garden bed just in front of the tee pad next to the tennis courts is also OB. It's very big and bushy now compared to what it was 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, trying to play through it or out of it is just not really an option anymore. We will have a temporary not a temporary drop zone, an optional drop zone just off the front of the tee on hole 1 and 10. So if you do happen to throw it straight into that garden bed, you have the option of going to that drop zone rather than trying to play from behind all those giant trees. But it is optional. So if you happen to go OB over the path up by the basket, you can just play normal OB rules and take it from where it went out. Hole 2 and 11, mandatory left of the light pole. There's a OB path on the right-hand side. So if you're on the path or over, you're out of bounds. OB in the lake, which will be marked by rope. And there's also a footpath across the fairway, which if you are unlucky enough to land on that, will be OB as well. There will be a drop zone in place for the mandatory light pole as well. Hole 3 and 12, they're exactly the same hole. Play the same hole twice. The only thing to worry about there is the OB in the lake. Hole 4 and hole 13, 2 different tee pads, same basket. There's OB on the right. At the start of the hole, it's bollards, so the outside edge of the bollards, and then it runs into a limestone wall, so it'll be the inside edge of the limestone wall. So if your disc's sitting on top of the limestone wall and no part of it's inside, then you're OB. There's also the lake to the left of the basket as well, which will be marked by rope. Hole 5 and hole 15, that limestone wall on the right-hand side is the OB on that hole as well, and then there's OB lake on the left. Hole 6 and hole 15, OB footpath on the right-hand side and the lake on the left. Hole 7 is the short little double mando. You have to go between the 2 marked mandatory trees, and we'll have a drop zone in place. If you miss that, there's OB footpath on the right, and there's a little footpath running through the middle of the fairway. So if you end up on that footpath, that's OB as well. Hole 16 is a temporary hole. So we'll have a temporary tee pad that's down next to the lake. And you throw across the footpath. Anything short of the footpath is hazard. And on the footpath is OB. So you have to get over that footpath to be in the safe area. I've just lost everyone in the meeting. I saw something on the chat and I clicked it and now you're all gone. Oh well, I don't need to see you, do I? As long as you're still there. Oh no. Yep, cool. You're all still there. I did lose you for a bit. All right. After hole 16, we've got hole 17 and hole 8. There is OB on the right-hand side, that footpath, but it shouldn't come into play. That one should be pretty wide open. Once you finish that, you're going to go to the temporary hole that we've added to increase the field size, which is hole 8A and hole 17A, which is right next to hole 18's tee pad. There is a mandatory tree. It's the big white gum tree. It'll be marked with the Mando sign. You have to go to the right of that. And then up by the basket, there is a footpath around the left-hand side of the basket and a garden bed. So in that garden bed would be OB as well as on the footpath or over the footpath. And then hole 18 or 9 and 18, there's OB, footpath and beyond on the right and behind the basket. And I realized I skipped hole 1A and 10A, which we play after hole 1 and hole 10. That's the other temporary hole, which we play from the grass next to hole 11's tee pad to the basket behind the yellow sculpture. The only OB to worry about there is if you've got a really big arm and you throw it 15, 20 meters long, there's a footpath. So on or over that footpath will be OB. That's the hole specific breakdowns. There is on the oval, they have got some temporary fencing up at the moment because they've been using the oval for car parking. They pulled it down last week, but it's gone back up during the week. So we'll try and move as much of it out of the way as we can and put it back at the end of the tournament on Monday. But where you end up with the fence in your way, we're going to play optional relief as per 803.02. I'll add it to the whole notes. I'll just add it to the general notes for the whole event. You can take relief from the fences in line with the basket, no closer to the hole, up, and I'm going to allow up to 3 meters so that you can get your disc up and over those fences. But hopefully we'll be able to move them out of the way. So yeah, up to 3 meters relief from the fence if it's in your way. Yeah, so if it's kind of your swings impeded by it, or you're right behind it and you're just going to throw straight into it, and then you can take that relief so that you don't have to worry about that. Cool. Behavior, whole notes, fences, done. Yeah, and like I said earlier, if there's anything that you're not quite sure about on the day, well, first of all, the group makes the call. There is some new rules around the player voting, so make sure you're familiar with those new rules. But if not, you can always play a provisional and get a ruling from me at the end of the round. Yeah. That is, I've got one more point that I want to talk about. We're going to do some course setup tomorrow afternoon from 3 p.m. So if you're free and you want to come down and give us a hand putting out the OB ropes, maybe moving some of those fences, there might be a couple of branches that accidentally fall down in the wind on hole 3 and hole 4. So if you want to bring something to help a branch or two fall down, that would be good so that we can get the bulk of the setup done tomorrow afternoon. And then Monday morning, all we have to do is put out the 3 temporary baskets so that we can get out there and have a practice before the round starts rather than rushing to do all the setup. So probably I'm expecting that will only take us half an hour to an hour to do, and then we'll have a practice round after once we've got the setup done. And you can see what the layout looks like with all the OB in place. Yeah, so that's basically everything I've got to say. Might run through a couple of the key points. Just remember, no players meeting on the morning, so you need to be at your hole ready to tee off when the horn goes at 9 a.m. If you have any questions about rules and what is and what isn't OB, check with your card mates. If not, play provisional, check with me. Fences, if they're in the way, up to 3 meters, optional relief, no closer to the basket on the line of play, so that you can get a decent throw and get your disc over there. Yeah, other than that, if there's any questions, I'll open it up to the floor. We can go through them. And chuck it in the chat or raise your hand or unmute your mic, whatever you want to do.
Jace.
Yep, Ken?
Yeah, so I know we're going to do movement of all and everything where
Yep.
we can. There will be some fences still there.
Yep.
Once, basically, once in play, they can't be moved. Is that correct? It's
yeah, so it's not like Ricky and his sticks where you can just pick them up and move them out of your way. They are a part of the course, so they have to stay in place, but you do get that 3 meters relief so that you can throw over it. Yeah.
And if we accidentally brought down a chainsaw on a pole, would that be a bad thing tomorrow?
I would love if you accidentally brought that down.
Okay, I might accidentally.
Yeah, so there's just a couple of trees on hole 3 that if a branch or two disappeared, it would make that hole a lot more friendly. And then same on, I think it's hole, I can't remember if it's 4 or 13, but there's a tree straight there that could lose a couple of low hanging branches. Yep. Yep, 3 p.m. working bee start time. Should be a pretty quick one. Cool. Any other questions? I can't see if that's a thumbs up or a hand. Hand, yeah, Joe?
To bring me lunch. Again.
Sorry?
Bring you lunch.
You bring me lunch? Brilliant.
Done.
Thank you. I believe parking is free on Monday because it's a public holiday.
It is. It is.
Yep. Yep. Cool. Oh, and now our meeting's in German. Guessing that Mark somehow managed to change that since he's German. I don't speak German. All right. Well, no more questions. Might leave it there. If the fishers are around, are you guys able to hang on for a moment just for a quick chat? Other than that, you're welcome to leave. Thanks guys. Look forward to seeing you Monday.